And we're back. Stripe Show podcasts on a Tuesday. I'm your host, Travis Fulton. Thank you for making us part of your day. You can see some new cameras there in the backdrop. The new TF Golf Studio brought to you by About Golf Simulators. Loving mine as I've moved a lot of my teaching here in Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida, into my studio as I continue to layer in more technology. You'll be seeing a lot of new content coming out of here as I use my new toy from About Golf Simulators. Fantastic product. So big week this week, the Masters. We've made it, folks. The first major of the year up in Augusta, Georgia. Good podcast yesterday with Kurt Byram as we kind of look back at the Valero, Texas Open. Of course, JJ Spaun got the win. This win gets him now into the field at Augusta, making it 91 players, assuming that Tiger Woods makes it to his Thursday tee time. All systems go since arriving at Augusta. He's played now, I believe, a couple 9-hole rounds. He's walking. I don't see any really hitch to his gait pattern like we saw at the PNC. He looks healthy. He looks fit. He looks happy. He's smiling, seeing everybody out there, acknowledging the crowd as this new version, if you will, of Tiger Woods continues to roll on. I love it. People seem to love it. He has officially got rock star status. He was already one of the most popular, if not the most popular, recognized athlete in the world. He certainly is now. Monday practice round at Augusta, and they're lined up 6 or 7 deep all the way up number 1 fairway. Just an incredible scene. Of course, this is just, terrific news for the game of golf to have Tiger back in the mix. This is, really kind of the kickoff, I think, to the golf season. Many of you out there still a little bit of winter weather lingering. I know in the Northeast, there's been some cold weather, rain, potential snow in the higher elevation. I was talking with my family in the Northwest. It's still snowing on the ski hills. So, spring is near. We're starting to think about our own golf games. And look, here's the deal. I've got my new website, travisfultongolf.com. You need to go check it out. All my new training programs are up. I'm adding another one here in the next 10 days. It's called 150 Yards on In. Send me an email and let me know what you want to work on, and I'll steer you in the right direction. My email, ready for this? Travis at travisfultongolf.com. That's Travis at travisfultongolf.com. Send me an email. Let me know where you want to work on your game. What are the areas that need improvement? Maybe it's your driver, maybe it's your irons, your short game, your putter. You want to get rid of the slice, you want to get rid of the hook, you want to be more consistent, you want more distance, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Send me an email, say, hey, Travis, getting into the spring season, it's coming up. I need to improve in this part of the game, and I'll steer you in the right direction with my new website, new training programs, online lesson availability. Of course, if you're in the area, in-person lesson availability. I've got you covered. We're going to play great golf here in 2022. Many players in Augusta right now, they want to play great golf this week. It's time to break it down, folks. The Masters. So I had to bring in the big hitter. Beatin the Bookie joins me now here on the Stripe Show podcast. And voila, there he is. Beatin the Bookie, just like that. He shows up on the Stripe Show podcast. How you doing, bud?
Pretty good. Just very busy this week. I mean, obviously, I'm sure you are too. It's the premier major of golf, so a lot to talk this week. Tiger's back. How's he going to look? The mainstream. And this is like the 1 week. This is really like the one major of the year where the mainstream media, everyone's an expert for this tournament. So I'm looking forward to it. I mean, they should get killer ratings, especially if Tiger makes the weekend. I mean, the ratings are going to be through the roof.
Oh yeah. I mean, anytime Tiger's involved, this is prime time. And he says it's going to be a game time decision, but he is on campus. He looks good. He's got his new shoes. How does Nike not be able to make a shoe that Tiger would be happy with at this point? I mean, they've known about this for a while, and all of a sudden, Tiger's wearing a FootJoy shoe anyway. But he looks good. He doesn't have that giddy up in his hitch there as he did at the PNC. He's smiling. He's played a couple 9-hole rounds. I was talking to some of my resources, and they were talking really leading up to this. Tiger and Joe as caddy, they were playing 36 holes a day at times to get ready. So he's been playing a lot of golf. Now, of course, Medalist where he plays is flat, but they've been trying to, get some slopes in there. So this is, look, he's played a lot of golf leading up to this point. He has, probably, I think he's always felt better than he's led on at the PNC. The way that he talked, I thought he was going to go out there in crutches and play the way he was talking. And then he goes out there and he's ripping it past JT with his driver. So he's further along than he's leading on to. I think it's all systems go for Thursday to tee it up. I know it's a big week for you. People, they get their picks here, but you put out a really robust card throughout the week and also daily. Tell my audience how they can get your full lineup here.
Yeah, so my clients, we'll do a full golf card for the Masters, as we do pretty much every PGA tournament besides a couple. But my PGA package includes all the plays for each round, all the future plays for the entire tournament. So every day I send out an email with all of our plays on it for that day. Usually I send it out the night before, as long as there's no rain delay that stops the round from finishing. But we have everything on there from first round leader, head-to-head matchups, top nationality, top 20s, top 30s, top 10s, winners, pretty much everything that you can bet on for a golf tournament we will have. So anywhere where we have an advantage, I'll have that on our client card. But it makes it fun, and it's $99.99. So you really get like a lot of value because there's a lot of plays like through the tournaments. I mean, we have a ton of plays, so it'll be fun. And what I find out is everybody is a golf fan, like especially for the majors. Even people who don't bet golf like all year, they always bet the majors. They always bet the Masters. They love to watch it. The Masters especially is like really easy to follow with their app. The Masters app is the best app by far, like especially with anything to do with golf. It's leagues higher than the PGA app. So we'll have a lot of fun, and it'll keep people entertained for 4 days, and hopefully we can get an outright winner. Yeah,
the weather looks there's gonna be a little bit of rain. They're having some weird weather right now, some like a potential tornado here this afternoon. So there's some bad weather coming through this afternoon. Temperatures look pretty good, on Wednesday and Thursday. A little chance of rain, I think, Thursday morning, and then it kind of cools off a little bit. But the wind is going to blow. I think that's going to be something to pay attention to. I think it will be a little windier this week at Augusta. And particularly, it looks like on Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday it calms down, and it'll be perhaps a little bit cooler on Sunday. And of course, this is Augusta National. This is one of the most recognized golf courses certainly in the world, if not the most recognized golf course in the world. Every hole is just picturesque. I've walked it a few different times, never got to play it. I was talking with Kurt Byram yesterday, just, like when you're there, what are some things that really stand out versus when you're watching on TV? It's really difficult to give the slope enough justice until you're there walking down number 10, until you're there walking up number 1, number 18, those types. There's a lot of slope there, and Tiger's going to have his work cut out for him, and just, I think, focusing on his walking pattern, which seems weird, but look, I mean, Tiger's told us that just, walking is going to be the issue. Can he have the stamina and make it through for 4 rounds? That's something he's going to have to be thinking about. It's a big course. They lengthened it again. They changed number 11 a little bit on the right-hand side. We're looking over 7,500 yards perhaps here into 76. So this is a big golf course. You got the big par 4, like number 1, number 5, number 11, the par 3 4th is a monster. So you got some big shots there. The approach play, like every week, is huge. You've got to You've got to win with the iron game here. And we know, I think with saying that, like, experience is big here, more so probably than any other golf course. Playing this course, the subtleties of how to deal with these uneven lies. There's a lot of uneven lies that you have to work with here into the greens. Where to miss it is huge. The short game is certainly going to play a role. And then these greens are huge. You know, some of them are very big. They're crazy undulation. Number 3 has got to be the most psychotic green I've ever seen in my entire life. It's just nuts. So you got to be able to kind of avoid 3 putts. And as Rory just said in his press conference, you know, he just kind of talked like, he's like, look, you just have to be patient. You've got to birdie the par 5s and just stay away from the big numbers. Don't try to be a hero. Just be a patient and kind of plod along, shoot your 69, you know, and then just maybe take a chance when it calls for it, you know, like the second shot on the 8th, when you can rip your 3-wood up there and try to get close and 2. Those types of things. So when you watch Augusta, is this your favorite beating the bookie of the majors? I mean, is this the one that kind of stands out to you?
Yeah, I mean, I like the Masters and the British Open the most, just because I like the Masters because it's so easy to follow, like with the app, and with a smaller field, I feel like you get like a more intimate feel. I love the scoreboard there also. I do like it along with, you know, the British Open, which I like the British Open because I like to watch golf at 4 a.m. over here happening live. So, yeah, it's probably my favorite tournament. I think it's obviously the most exclusive. I mean, it's the biggest tournament in golf that any player could win. So it's definitely my favorite. I love to go to it, actually. So I might think about going to it next year. Just gotta spend about $2,000 for a ticket, which I don't mind. But yeah, I'm looking forward to going to it one day. And it's definitely my favorite tournament. It's the easiest to follow because you can follow. I mean, on the app, you can follow any golfer, every single shot. They have the most cameras. I mean, I think Pana Vidra has the most cameras for the Players Championship, but it's definitely my favorite tournament. Hopefully we can avoid the weather like at the Players. We don't want the tournament getting jumbled up like that again. So hopefully we can stay away from some wicked weather and these guys can finish on Sunday.
Yeah, Hideki's the champ. He'll be hosting the dinner tomorrow on Wednesday. And then DJ won it in 2021 in the fall.
Yep.
And then, you know, Tiger, of course, back in 19, Patrick Reed, Sergio, Danny Willett back in 2016, Jordan Spieth, 2015. You say these names, think about the type of player you're looking at here. What jumps out for you here? And we know experience matters, but what else you gotta do here at Augusta as you start breaking it down?
Great iron players. You've got to have a hot putter. You can't really, like you said, you have to avoid the mistake. Like when Tiger won, how Molinari hit the tree, you know, went in the water.
Yep.
When he just watched 2 other guys before him do the same exact thing. So, you know, you want to know, like you said, like Rory said, like you want to know when to take those chances. So I think guys like Tiger, Jordan, they all know all of that. I know Jordan's like blown lead still creeps into the back of his head. So I think, you know, at Augusta, we're not really looking for a guy that's going to crank it off the tee box, you know, like Patrick Reed. I mean, these guys aren't huge drivers, but you need to be a little accurate, you know, with your tee shots so you can set up the good angles to hit the greens. So I don't think, you know, it's not like a bomber's paradise, obviously. You know, we say Bryson said it should play like a par 67 a couple years ago, and then they just went out and straight up like embarrassed him. So, so of course, that's not going to let the player, you know, beat it.
Yeah, I mean, like you know, Reed's not a bomber, although he had a really good driving week that week. You know, Jordan is not looked at as a bomber, although he has gotten longer this year. Willett's not a bomber. But then you have, you know, then you got guys like Tiger Wynn and DJ, and that's just kind of a sign of a great course. Nicholas, of course, has done okay here as well in his past. So, you know, it kind of, you know, you can play it different ways, of course. but it is a big ballpark, and iron play is huge. Managing just the uneven lies and different types of shots that you got to hit into these greens. It's, a hook lie in managing that. The collection areas, I think where to miss it. You hear players talking about that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You hear players seeking out guys like Fred Couples, who goes to the areas where you have to miss it and shows them, look, you need to be practicing this shot on this particular hole when the flag is here, because this is where you need to miss it. You can't be aggressive with that flag, because if you miss it over there, you can't get it up and down. And so they're just, the strategy is so valuable here, and players seeking out older players to play with. And it plays out if you know how to play the course, you can give up some age and length, as we've seen Freddie and Bernhard do so well here. We saw Nicholas win at the age of 46. So the experience certainly goes a long ways. And as we start to get into,
you just have to avoid like the big number,
yeah,
it's not, 25 under is not going to win this tournament. So you really just have to know, you have to know when to take your medicine. If you've got to lay up and get it close for a bogey putt, that's what you got to do. You just can't try to make the hero shot every time, because the course will beat you. So, it's not too low of a score is not going to win, maybe 10, 12, 13 under. So you can afford to just, take a few less chances the first couple of rounds. But with Augusta, we usually see the first round, somebody will shoot a 65.
Yeah.
And then there'll be 7 under after the first round, and then the winner will be 10 under. So,
yep.
So you just got to stay away from those big numbers early, because you have plenty of time to come back.
Yeah, it'll probably be Paul Casey or Xander Schauffele. They'll be up there, and then when the pressure hits and it's time to buck up and win, then that's when someone else usually goes past and wins, as Hideki did last year. Xander, made a good push at him and wasn't able to catch him, and he blundered, down the stretch like he often does when he's in the hunt. And of course, as we look at the odds, the books, they don't do any favors here, right? They're gonna tighten up a little bit here to give you. Of course, I mean it's a great field, so you're going to have a lot of odds that are going to be in that 20 and underneath, more so than any other tournament. And historically, I mean, this course, as we talked about, the who's who wins this, right? The big names, the Tiger Woods, who's won it 5 times, they're going to win this. He's got a few green jackets himself, and Jack Nicklaus and Gary Player and Arnold Palmer and DJ or Dustin Johnson. So it's the who's who that wins. So there's not going to be a ton of plays on the long shots, to probably to go out and win this. Now, maybe a top 20 here and there, but that's the value of the experience, and I think of the beauty of this golf course. So as we get into the odds and we start kind of giving some of the names that we're looking at, Jon Rahm, once again, is the favorite at 9-1. He's played very well here. He's got a good track record. He's never won it. Scheffler comes in as the new number 1. He's 12-1. JT 12-1. Cameron Smith is at right now 14, and then Dustin Johnson as 16. Are you ready to go to Rahm and say, because I know you love Rambo, I know you love him, is this the week that he finally, he gets the short game and the putter going?
Well, he switched back to his old putter, so which I thought he should have just stayed with. He should have never switched to begin with, because if you're rolling it well with your putter, like after you win the U.S. Open, why are you changing your putter? I mean, the putter won you the U.S. Open, so he's back to his old putter, which I prefer. 9-1, it's kind of tough. I mean, it's kind of short odds right there. So Rahm's maybe the kind of guy where I'll either take for the first round leader, or I'll wait till, maybe he goes off later in the day on Tuesday, so somebody else gets in front. Then his odds go to like plus 11, plus 1,200, something like that. The odds are shorter for this tournament for most golfers because the field is smaller. Obviously, 91 golfers if Tiger plays, and more than half of them make the cut. So this field's much smaller than an average PGA event. That's why the odds are going to be a bit shorter. But I do think there's a lot of value across the board, especially from some of the middle tier guys. Some of the odds I don't really understand for this, tournament. Like, how is Russell Henley 35-1 and Sam Burns is 50-1? It doesn't really make
Burns it's his first time. So
yeah, I know, but it just talent wise, I mean, I'd take Sam Burns 100 times out of 100 over Russell Henley.
Yeah.
So I think they do put a little too much. I think people put a little too much into the experience. I mean, if you're a great golfer, like, you can play good anywhere. One of the stats that does stick out to me is since 2016, the best under par at major championships is Brooks Koepka, 94 under par.
Yep.
The second best is Dustin Johnson, 28 under. So Brooks is like almost 70 shots clear of the field for under par at majors since 2016. So I think there's some value in Brooks at 20-1. We all know he's a gamer. He loves majors. And I feel like Morikawa at 20-1 also is kind of like a younger version of Koepka. Like, he shows up from when your money's on the line and when there's a major on the line, you won't feel bad backing Colin Morikawa because he wants to win it. He's been in it. He's won it before. So I think there's a lot of value to be had. I hope Rahm wins. He's
the short game's been, and putting has been nowhere near major championship material.
Yeah.
He's a different player right now coming in with recent form than he has been in, years past, but he's still the best ball striker in the world. So, and he's bowed very well here. I mean, this course is great for him. He hasn't finished outside of T9 in the last 4 attempts. So, I mean, like, there's a pretty good chance he's going to be there. It's just, at the end of the day, I think with Rahm, he just needs to see the damn ball go in the hole. I mean, that's just, he's got to get some momentum with his putter. And when he does, then I think he'll start to go again. I don't think we're quite ready to fully accept Scheffler as the number 1 player in the world. This is a guy that's finished inside the top 20. The 2 times he's played this course, it should be a good course for him. Although, I think with Scheffler, you probably he would probably prefer to see a little more of a premium on hitting the fairway, which with Augusta, you can spray it around a little bit and be a little erratic off the tee, as we've seen from some of these guys that have won in the past. I don't particularly think Phil Mickelson's a very accurate driver. Tiger, historically later in his career, wasn't a very accurate driver. Yeah. So, and Cameron Smith, who has played very well here, and we're getting to, is not a very accurate driver, and he's finished second. And Cameron Smith, this is probably the craziest stat of the year. He lost 5 strokes at the Players off the tee and won.
His putter is just unconscious. I mean, it was like at the Players, anything that was 20 feet it's automatic.
Yeah.
I like Cam Smith. Scotty Scheffler, he's won 3 out of his last 5 tournaments. So, I mean, the chances that he wins a 4th in like a month and a half we're talking like if you win 4 tournaments in a month and a half, it's like you're up there with Tiger Woods in his prime. Right. So it's hard to see Scotty like at 12-1, especially one like a month ago, you could get him for 30-1. So 12-1, that's a little too short for me for Scotty. But he's playing so well, I wouldn't be shocked if he won.
Yeah. It's tough to see a 12 number by Scotty when you're used to seeing a 30 and a 35 and a 40. But this is where Scotty Scheffler is in his career. In these shorter odds, I'm going to take Justin Thomas.
I like it. Yeah.
And I think Justin's ready again to win a major championship. And I think with the wind coming in, that's going to play into my decision-making. Things could get dirtied up a little bit with this tournament. It's not going to be the azaleas blooming and the birds chirping and it's 5-mile-an-hour breeze with a drink with an umbrella in it. Like this tournament probably is going to get dirtied up a little bit with the wind. And so I start thinking, okay, who do I want to go to bat with that? And JT's the first that comes to mind. He got the short end of the stick at the Players and was still there. I mean, he was playing through awful conditions. So I feel like JT's putter now is starting to come around and be at that point where when he starts filling it up and going, Justin Thomas is going to be there late on Sunday. So I'm ready for Justin Thomas, I think, to win another major championship.
Same with DJ. I mean, that's how I feel like DJ.
Those are the two. Yep.
I feel like DJ at the Players. I feel like if he didn't get stuck with those crappy times to play, I think he could have won it. I mean, he holed out for Eagle on the final hole of the tournament. I think he finished 9 under. I think he could have won the tournament if he got, you know, the playing times that like Cam Smith and stuff got. He played very well, and DJ was playing very well up to the break, the weather break, and then he just, you know, they came back from the break on the one Saturday, and the wind was just like unbelievable. You know, we saw like the first 3 tee shots on 17 go on the water there. And that was just pretty much it. Anybody who was going at that time was just pretty much it. When you see the first 3 players, the top 3 players in the world get up there on 17 and hit it into the water,
yep,
you know that like people are, it's gonna be trouble, even for the best golfer. So I thought DJ played himself, you know, very well there, and with match play, played very well also. So I think DJ could do some big things this weekend too.
I think Dustin had a little trouble with his driver at the end of last year. There was something going on there. Now I think he's ironed it out. I think his driver is becoming a weapon again. I think his iron game is trending. And I don't worry about DJ's putter. I don't think DJ gets enough credit with his putter, and he's capable of going on a heater too. I mean, he'll drop +9 stroke scan putting on you like he did at the Tour Championship, +6 at the BMW. He was +5.5 stroke scan putting at the Players. I mean, so you give me that driver and where the irons are, and then you give me a +5 putting. I think DJ puts on another green jacket. I really do. So of the shorter odds, JT and DJ are probably where I'm hanging my hat. I just can't get myself at this point in watching Xander to get him to the finish line to win. I feel like there's, you know, he's going to do enough to get there. Yeah, I'm comfortable playing Xander top 20 at -125. I'm comfortable with that. But I just see him get smaller in bigger situations down the stretch. And I know he won the gold medal, and I give him a lot of credit for that. But I don't know. Like, it's not there for me when the heat's on situationally. You've got to do this, this, and this to win this tournament. I'm picking a dozen guys over him.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. So, you know, I like a lot of guys at the top, of course, but Xander, he's not one of them. Victor's not, you know, Victor's irons and his putting right now is just not good enough for heading into Augusta. So, like Victor, I'll pass on. Rory. Rory's the same story he's always been. He just can't put 2 rounds together, like back-to-back good rounds. I mean, he'll come out hot, and then he'll shoot a 74 the next day, seemingly all over the place. He can't control his driver right now. So Rory is another guy that I do trust him a little more than Xander, obviously, because he's been there. Jordan Spieth, coming off one of the worst putting performances of his career at the Valero. Three putting from 3 feet. He looked like a 7-year-old at mini golf, you know? So it's tough I think Jordan's in his own head too much. And he's got though he did win it, he's won the Masters, yeah, but I think he's got that choke still in his head. You know, he'll never forget that. That's always going to haunt him here. So I think that's tough for him to overcome. Cantley, the Florida tour killed him. Right there. We haven't heard anything from Patrick Cantley this year at all.
Well, you know, Cantley's, I think he struggled with his iron game. I think he's kind of fighting his swing a little bit. This seems like a good place for him where, you know, patient player, don't make the big mistake, just kind of keep plodding along. But you look at, let's see, Cantley's, you know,
25.
Tournament history here is not what you might think it is. I mean, he missed the cut. I know last year I was trying to go. Yeah. So when DJ won, he was T17, he was T9 when Tiger won, then he missed the cut in 18. So, you know, I don't know. I'm not there with Cantley. I think in this next range of odds, I think Hovland's coming. I do think Hovland's coming. I think it feels a bit early right now at this particular time for a green jacket. With the wind coming in and things getting a little bit dirty, I'm out on McIlroy. I don't think McIlroy's the guy that's gonna win in those types of conditions. He's trying to get the Grand Slam. Morikawa seems to be a little not quite there on all cylinders. Look, in this middle range, Koepka's my favorite at 20. But I would probably go Spieth over Cantley over Zalatoris at 35, just when things get dirtied up. I like it. I think, look, let the wind blow and let the creativity coming out. That's the other thing I was going to mention in the top is that when you think of this course is not so much, look, A plus B equals C, like you do this, and like, it's kind of, I don't know, like the artistic side to me matters here, where no greens book, kind of throw things out. You're in the middle of the ocean, figure it out. Right. That's like, to me, like that mentality, that artistic mentality is huge here. So I with the weather coming in, if it does get a little breezy, I know Spieth struggled with the putter last week. I'm okay with them. I'll bet Spieth in a top 20 here.
And improvising, that's where Jordan does the best, when he's not thinking about it, not in his mind. Like we saw when he won the British, when he hit it over the Titleist truck.
Mm-hmm.
When he's improvising and just not overthinking, he does great. That's just the thing. He overthinks it. Is he the same golfer he was, like with this new like rehearsal swing he does with I don't know, it's weird. He looks like me rehearsing his swing back there. I think he just gets in his head a little bit too much. So hopefully, Augusta is a place where he knows he can have success, and hopefully he can just relax there, play his game. I seriously doubt Jordan Spieth's going to have back-to-back terrible putting weeks. He got a little better like on Sunday with his putter, but still, I mean, the one round he just totally blew up on. So he's just in his own head. And he's practiced a ton this week on these greens. That's probably the thing he practiced the most heading into this tournament. So at the end of the day, 22 to 1 with Jordan Spieth. When you consider 2 years ago here, he'd probably be 8 to 1 to win, 9 to 1 to win. I think 22, you're getting a pretty good value, because if there's one place Jordan Spieth's going to play better than everybody else, it's going to be the Masters. So I definitely, I'll probably back Jordan Spieth at 22 to 1, because I do think there's some value there. Whereas, like we said, there's not much value with Scottie Scheffler at 12 to 1. I think there's a lot of value on Jordan Spieth at 22 to 1.
Yeah.
So if you're going to take Jordan Spieth to win this at 22 to 1, that's also a guy that when he wins, he starts out hot. He could easily shoot a 65 here in the first round. So take, a flyer on Jordan Spieth also to be the first round leader.
Yep.
You can get that at
Yep. I could definitely
at 30 plus 3,000 right now. So 30 to 1.
I like that.
I definitely can back that. But yeah, I mean, the other guys, like Rory and stuff, it's just tough to.
Yeah.
So, and Morikawa hasn't played much golf lately, so it's tough to. And Will Z 35 to 1. That's going to be everybody's like picking Will Z. Oh, he did great last year.
Yep.
His putter was so hot. Well, guess what? His putter is never going to be like that again. So, for me, like Will Z's a pass, and then we start getting into the Henleys, who is probably the second most overbet golfer this week, besides Tiger Woods, now down to 35 to 1 to win. Crazy. The same as Matsuyama. I mean, the defending champion has the same odds to win it as Tiger Woods. It's a little crazy. Bryson 45 to 1. I think there's some value on Bryson, but it's tough to know where Bryson is right now. I hit Bryson 11 to 1 to make an eagle last week in the first round. He holed out for eagle from the bunker. So Bryson, like, it's just tough to know where his game is right now. I do like Louis at 45 to 1. Louis is going to show up. His iron game is among the best when it's going. And obviously, we've seen him with the best putter on tour for most of last season. So Louis is a guy I can support. And then Sam Burns, although he's not experienced here, he's just so talented. 50 to 1.
Yeah, and this is a good course for him. Like this is, you start looking at course fits, and he'll play this for years to come. This is a good setup for him. You worry a little bit about burns around the green, but on these fast greens, look, sign me up for burns in the South, right? And we know he's an excellent iron player, really good driver of the ball. He can move it right to left off the tee. I like Burns here. I do. Look, I'll probably bet him to win, and I know that he's a first timer here, and that's likely not going to happen. But at some point, I do think in the way the game has gone, and you look at these guys are ready to play coming out, and it's probably going to happen here in the next 5 to 10 years. You would think a first timer and the talent that these guys have coming in and catching fire and winning one. Berger's a little surprising. He hasn't played well here. There hasn't been a top 20, I don't believe.
Yeah,
for Daniel Berger. And, he's at 40 to 1 and he checks a lot of boxes for whatever reason. He just hasn't bowed well here. Certainly a lot there in the skill set. This range is just, I'm finding myself passing over the Will Zalatoris. Yeah, you're not betting on Will putting like that again. Seems very unlikely. We know he's a great ball striker. I'm not going to bet him to win. I'm not betting Henley to win. I'm not going to bet Tiger to win. Hideki is withdrawing every week. This neck injury is serious. I mean, he's not the same version of himself. I can't bet Berger. I can't bet Bryson to win right now. Bryson seems like a mess.
I could bet Shane Lowry because I could see him just dirtying it up, just grinding his way to a final round. At 50 to 1.
Yep, I've already got it down. I got Lowry at 50.
Another guy I could see also at 60 to 1. I know he's not playing great. I mean, he just came off a 20. I think he got 23rd at the Valero. He did not play well at match play, and his season hasn't been very good to say the least. Tony Finau, 2018 he got 10th here, 2019 5th, 2021 10th. I think Tony Finau at 60 to 1 because he's definitely capable of winning this tournament. If he gets hot, we've seen his iron play just as good as anybody.
Yep.
So if Tony gets hot, I think at 60 to 1, like how do you pass on Tony Finau at 60 to 1?
I agree.
So plus 450 top 10. I mean, I'll take that,
Plus 450 top 10 is a bet that I will make. It has not been a good year though for Tony. He has really, his ball striking's been okay. Short game's just been awful. It's very similar. I mean, John Rahm's the better ball striker, but it's a lot of the same issues around the greens and putting. Although at Valero, he finally did make a few putts. Yeah, I mean, look. If this is a good spot for Finau, and he is, it's played out that way with a number of top 10s. The around the green game is nowhere near where it was, say, back in early last year.
Yeah,
coming in when he finished 10th. It's funny how all of a sudden you're looking at 6 straight weeks where he's lost strokes around the green. It's interesting how that happens, right? All of a sudden you can't get the ball up and down like you used to, and some of that obviously has been his putter hasn't been that great and can go away. But look, his skill set says and his history says it's going to get better. It's going to come back to the mean, right? And if it does here and he's bombing his driver out there and his iron game's good, it's played out that way. If he doesn't sprain his ankle on Wednesday, during the par 3. Let me ask you this here as we kind of work into these 40s and 50s. Yeah, I said Burns, I'll play top 20. I am going to play a win ticket on Lowry. I like the way he's coming along right now. Mm-hmm. I think Adam Scott's pretty interesting as well at 55. I think Adam Scott is putting really well.
Yeah, which is
And
rare.
experience plays out here. Could Adam Scott get his second green jacket? I'll probably play him as a top 20. I think Fitzpatrick's playing very good golf. Here I am with Corey Connors again.
No, I'm
Connors
done
has
with him.
played well here. Hey, look,
Done.
Mike Weir won as a Canadian. Corey Connors wins the Masters, beating the bookie.
He's dead to me. I mean, I had him as a max play last week, top 20, and he let a 7-hole stretch blow up his entire tournament. He played well on Sunday and shot a 67. He left every putt that he missed short. He just let a momentary lapse of judgment on like a 7-hole stretch in the third round just destroy his entire tournament. So I'm kind of annoyed with Corey this week. So I can't stomach taking him back-to-back weeks after he lost the max play for me. But yeah, he definitely has the ability to win here. Look at Joaquin. Then we go to Joaquin Neiman, 65-1. I mean, that's a decent play, but it's kind of they're begging for money right there with Neiman. Those odds are just begging you to bet him.
Yep. I can't play Neiman here.
And you look at some of these odds. Like, I'm not like a fan of his at all, but I'll take Sergio at 80-1. Just because, like you said, it's like 10, 11, 12 under can win this tournament. Can Sergio shoot that here? Sure, he can. If he gets hot, he can be, right there. And one guy that I do not like, I usually don't play him ever, but I could see having a good week here. He was playing well at the Players in the first round. Tommy Fleetwood, I'm not like a fan of.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not a big Tommy Fleetwood fan, but I think with the conditions, with the windy, he plays well in windy conditions. So Tommy Fleetwood 80-1. I mean, I'll support that all day.
Yeah, I agree. I like Fleetwood. That's probably as low as I'll go. I mean, Rose is at 80, which he loves this place. Justin Rose. I mean, he has played exceptionally well at Augusta. And Gary Woodland's playing good golf.
Yeah.
Not the best place for him at 100-1. I had Gary to win last week, and I think he played well enough to win. He just a couple little silly mistakes here and there.
I had him top 20.
He's definitely coming along. I don't think this is the right spot for him, but who knows? I mean, two names on that list that have played good that need to step it up in major championships are Billy Horschel and Max Homa. I think it's top of mind. I know it is for Billy, who is going to join the pod tomorrow from Augusta and give us some insight on some of the changes and whatnot. So that's going to be cool to see Billy on the podcast talking about Augusta and just his time with Tiger. And then Joel Damon's going to come on after him, and that should be fun and interesting.
You know what I call
Joel.
Billy? Huh? Billy. I call Billy the best dressed golfer on tour.
He is.
He's always dressed to the nines with his shoes. He's always got some swag, So, well, I like Billy. I mean, he's one of my favorite golfers also, and he's a nice guy. Like on Twitter, like he'll reply to people on Twitter and stuff. Very nice guy. So I like Billy. Max Homa, he's won at Riviera, which is like similar to, it's a course comparison for Augusta. When Max gets on fire, he plays just as good as anybody, pretty much. So I look for those guys that are capable of playing like lights out for a round and kind of keeping it together. Justin
never
Rose
made the cut here.
He hasn't, and
Horschel,
he's probably
T38.
Homa's getting more consistent though. Like as he plays more and more tournaments, I feel like he's been getting more consistent this season with finishes. Who this guy is the most like frustrating golfer ever, Siwoo Kim. I feel like if he could just like concentrate after he makes that bogey, like don't lose your train of thought for the next hole. But I think Siwoo Kim, like honestly, if Siwoo Kim won the Masters, I wouldn't be shocked at all. He's got the talent.
Won the Players.
Yeah, he's got the talent to win this. He's just got to like mentally like
12th last year.
He's got to stay intact for these things.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of guys that are like towards the end of the odds board that I can see. Look at Webb Simpson, 130-1. That's I mean, crazy. That's like I might have to put like a iced coffee on that or something, because when do you see Webb Simpson at 130-1? So maybe he's a little little more injured than maybe that they're leading on. That's kind of a unbelievable. Jason Kokrak, 130 to 1.
I mean, Webb's finished in the top 20 the last 4 times he's played here. Now,
yeah,
obviously he's a different guy now coming off the injury. Is he 100%? But I mean, here's a guy that gives up some distance, but knows how to play the golf course. And that's where I kind of go with Billy and Max. It's, there's guys that don't hit it that far but have figured out how to play Augusta, and those two haven't yet. So it'd be fun to catch up with them. All right. So some of my picks here as we, I've got JT, I've got DJ, I like Brooks, and you start getting some odds. I'll probably go Lowry, Connors, and Scott. I mean, those are, in the 50 to 1 range. Lowry, Connors, 55, Adam Scott, 55. And then of course your 3 chalk. You got, what are your couple free plays for the,
I mean, as far as winners, I'll be taking Cam Smith, DJ. Brooks is probably my favorite play.
Okay.
Of those guys in the 20 to 1 range. I love Rahm. He's my favorite golfer, but 9 to 1, I'm just not going to bet it.
You got to wait that one out.
You got to weather too much
Yeah.
through 4 rounds for that. So take that. I'll take a Spieth just because he's also one of my favorites. Then we go down the leaderboard. Look at Tiger's back up to 40. I'll take Louis. I'll take a little bit on Shane. I probably will pass on Burns just because of, like you said, the experience. I'll take Tony at 60 to 1. Maybe a little tiny bit of Sergio, a little tiny bit of Tommy Fleetwood. And then I do like, he's playing really good golf right now. I know he's good friends with his brother. Tom Hoagie, 200 to 1. Mm-hmm. He's playing well. His irons have been great. His putter has been great. Tom Hoagie, 200 to 1. Like, if we sat here next week and we said, hey, Tom Hoagie, you're 2022 Masters champion, like, there's, like, Danny Willett would surprise me a lot more than Tom Hoagie just because of his recent form coming in. Top 10 FedEx standings coming in, playing very well. I know it's like, like the experience thing and stuff like that. But sometimes guys just play well, and they're playing well coming in there, and they maintain it. So 200 to 1, I would gladly take a shot at that. There's a lot of value towards the end, but will we see like one of these golfers like towards the back? Like, I'm not going to take Taylor Gooch because he doesn't even know that you can't wear shorts to Augusta. Did you see that this week? There's guys that, like, I wouldn't bet. But yeah, there's a lot of guys to back this week, which makes it fun because there's just so many guys who can win. Like, look at, he's playing terribly right now, but Lee Westwood 200 to 1.
Yep. Well, I mean, Westwood is.
Francesco
I think
Molinari.
there's some things on the minds of some players. Westwood certainly has been very vocal about the Saudi League and those things, and he's certainly not the same player he was this time last year. All right, top 20s. I've got I threw Cam Smith in there minus 165, Xander minus 125, Burns plus 150, Finau plus 180. Those were some of my top 20s to this point. I mean, maybe you throw Tiger in there at plus 150 just to have some fun with. But look, gosh, Tiger in the hunt on Sunday? Come on, and played.
Yeah, I mean, those ratings would be unbelievable.
14 months. Come on, really?
Some T20s for me. I'll take Jordan. I'll take Brooks. I'll take Louis plus 130. I feel like Tyrrell Hatton could grind his way to a top 20 finish here, or he could probably be in a top 10 and just commit a few errors and still finish top 20. Shane Lowry, Adam Scott, like another guy plus 160, top 20.
Yep.
Patrick Reed, I would never bet right now.
No,
his
can't
game
hit
is
it out
never
of his shadow.
His game has never been worse. But I wish I could bet Tiger not top 20 for like minus 200. I would take that all day. Plus 150. I mean, that's unbelievable. I mean, he's got the same odds as Sam Burns. He like almost lost his leg in a car accident last year. So just wild to think, the respect for him that bookmakers have is just incredible. So yeah, those are, I like Justin Thomas, top 20, but he's minus 200. Rahm minus 220. DeChambeau top 20 is like interesting. He's plus 130 to make the top 20, but he was minus 180 to make the cut. So it's like you can just bet him to make the cut. You're basically betting him to get the top 50,
right?
Whereas opposed to the top 20 is only plus 130. So
right,
take the make the cut all day because then you don't have to worry about the weekend. But can Bryson make the cut here? It's like I can't say for sure that he could. So there's definitely a lot of good options. Top 20, Francesco Molinari, plus 600. I mean, he's playing a little better this season than he was last season. He missed a few months last year with all the COVID stuff. He couldn't come to the United States, I believe. So I think there's a little bit of value there.
Bryson minus 6.2 at the Valero tee to green. Farmers minus 3.1 tee to green. Century minus 2.7 tee to green. I mean,
I watched them all.
He's going backwards right now. I mean, he is. Bryson is spiraling right now the other way. I mean, we're just kind of starting to see it, and he shouldn't even be playing this week. The doctors told him not to play, and he's playing.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just a lot of moving parts there. All right, so there's some names, some things to think about here. I feel good. I've historically have done well at Augusta with, there's certain week like the match play. I'm awful. Like I can't even sniff it with the match play. Last week at the Valero, things didn't break my way on the weekend. So it wasn't a great week, but historically this week and next, the RBC, I seem to, we've done well at. So I'm excited with these players. Justin Thomas is going to win.
Look, match play is a fake tournament to me. That's just I didn't do a package for match play. I mean, for match play because it's a fake tour. It's not a real tournament. Like, imagine you're just sitting down watching golf for the first time, and the match play is the first thing that you watch. You have no idea what's going on. Match play, I mean, and I had guys. I only played one round, and three of my guys blew like a 3. They're up 3 with like 4 left, and they lose.
Yeah.
So match play. Just stay away from that tournament, really. The Valero, I had Fratelli. I thought Fratelli was going to make some moves on Sunday, and we saw JJ Spawn. I mean, the guy just the Valero was like I said. The fourth round, the final round was probably the worst all-around round I've seen from golfers in the Chase. Nobody played well. JJ Spawn just played better than everybody.
You just did enough.
He did. Yeah, he just did enough. He didn't.
Well, he double bogeyed the first hole, and then he came back from that. So yeah, there wasn't anybody. The Sunday golf in general, like the women's major, and then that was just like there wasn't much happening that was going to go up and make it exciting. So well, hopefully this week, be nice to see the big names, jumbled up. Tiger make the cut. No Phil, of course, but 91 guys are there. They're out there. Some things to think about.
You got JT to win, right? The
Masters. Yeah, I mean, I think JT wins. I hope Connors wins or Lowry, but I think JT's bubbling. He's poised. This happens with him in his game. Like it looks like he's ready again. So I think it's gonna happen. So all right, beating the bookie. You're the man. See you next week.
Thank you.